ready. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, they got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome to Goat Talk Live.
I don't know. I get a little tired of hearing it, right?
The 99 is terrible. Here, I'm lacking for some reason. It's real white and flabby.
WTF. What are we doing?
Eddie, I tell everybody who'll listen that we're a really big deal.
Continues to grow and grow and grow.
Well. Good evening, everybody. It's Thursday night, so hey, we got Goat Talk Live here. I'm Eddie Smith and Patrick Drabick. How you doing tonight, Pat?
Man, I'm doing awesome. It's my favorite night of the week, man. We get to hang out, talk a little shop, talk about what's going on in the nonprofit. We get to bring some cool people up as well. Well, maybe not tonight. I mean, we got a guy. I'm not really sure how cool he is, but we got a guy. You know, sometimes you got to go hit the streets and, you know, get somebody.
Yeah, he looks warm, but let's talk about our sponsor real quick. Of course, we are presented by SAVE22. If you missed last week's episode with John Moser, you definitely got to go check that one out. That was an incredible episode. One of the best, I will say. It was a lot of fun to talk to him, and definitely go check that one out. Of course, as always, go check out SAVE22.vet. Their image would go there normally. We had a little update right before the podcast started, so there'll be some things that are out of whack, but that's okay. That's what we do. But save22.vet and youtube.com at save22vet. Go subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Definitely worth every subscription. Let's get over there and get it done and get them boys some views and stuff. They do a Tuesday talk every Tuesday night. But our guest here tonight is, well, you ought to know him if you've been around iRacing for a little bit of time. He is the owner of Maconi Setup Shop, which I'm sure you've heard. Maconi Entertainment. He's been doing some real-life racing as well, so can't wait to talk to him a little bit about that, what's been going on, his adventures the last couple months, and overall friend of Goat Locker. Here he is, Maconi. Jeff Maconi, what's going on? Woo! I need a little clapping and cheering thing. Yeah,
not too much. I'm excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. Always fun hanging out with you guys. Now we have to clean it up because we're in front of a camera though, so we'll be careful.
That's right.
We'll do our best.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us, by the way. Definitely really cool to have you on, get to know you a little bit more. I've known you for a while. We've kind of you know, in broadcasting world, everybody kind of knows everybody on iRacing. So you're always sort of rubbing shoulders with all kinds of people, done Maconi shows in the past. And so good to see you again. And just cool to have you as a partner for Goat Locker, man. It's been cool to see that kind of that relationship kind of blossom, and it's been cool. So I think it all works out really well. But Jeff, I mean, you said what you weren't cool. It looks like you're kind of hot. You got that big old coat on. Where are you that you need a coat like that?
I actually live in Tennessee, so we broke 50 degrees today, and everyone was outside, short sleeve shirts, everything. It has been like 20, 30 degrees. My pipes froze 2 weeks ago, which has never happened to me in my life. But I went to like brush my teeth in the morning. I turned on the water and nothing came out. And I'm like, that's a little weird. Like, I've paid my water bill. I know it. And so I'm like, okay, maybe something's wrong with this faucet. And I go and try another one. I'm like, yeah, pipes are frozen. I went outside. I like unscrewed my hose from the nozzle, and there was ice coming out of it. I'm like,
Mm.
great. So I'm in Tennessee, but I was thinking about it. And I'm like, well, what are drivers known for now that I'm moving from the virtual world into the real one and doing as much driving as I can there? I'm like, okay, I got to show up in the fire suit. I love it. I got all the partners on board and everything, and it's honestly, these fire suits are incredibly comfortable. That's what I love about them. I never realized that they are unbelievably comfortable. It feels like pajamas, just really, really hot. So if you see me drinking a lot of water, that's why. I keep like a massive cup on my desk, filled with water all the time, and then other beverages as well, but they don't pay me, so I'm not saying what they are. But
well, we'll have a schedule. We'll have multiple scheduled water breaks throughout this broadcast, this podcast. So I've got my water, so we'll take the break when we need to make sure everybody stays hydrated. We don't want anybody falling out on the podcast. Well, just kind of what I'd love to know. I don't know your backstory. I don't know your history. Yeah, I would love to know. Everybody has heard of Maconi Setup Shop if they have raced ovals and other series for sure, but it's been a name that I knew, for a long time. So kind of talk about your background as far as, cause I know you used to broadcast quite a bit, but talk a little bit about your background. How'd you get into the setup shop business? How did all that kind of get started?
it all started a while ago. I mean, when I was growing up, I grew up in Massachusetts, right on the border with Connecticut. And so I remember one time when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and my dad's like, "Hey, let's go down to Stafford Speedway." And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Like, I'm 6 years old. I can't say no. Like, it's just whatever he wants to do, we do. So he took my brother and I down, and we had a great time. And I fell in love with watching racing. I had played like the NASCAR video games and all that, and would watch it on TV. But I got to see racing up close for the first time, and I'm like, this is really cool. And one summer, I think it was after my freshman year of college, I came home from Purdue. Maybe it was even before. One of my summers, I was looking for a job, and I drove just on a whim up to Stafford and walked in the front office and said, "Hey, I'm looking for a job." They said, "We don't have any." I said, "Oh, okay." And they said, "We have internships." And I said, "Are they paid?" "No." "Well, it's free entry into the racetrack, so I might as well do it." So then um, I started out just helping around on Friday nights, working in the replay trailer. I had no idea what I was doing. They just threw me in front of like the camera equipment and were like, "Okay, have fun." Like, when we need a replay, you push this button, and when we don't, you push that. And I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing. I don't think I did a good job there because they immediately moved me out of it, and they handed me a microphone and were like, "Okay, go do the pre-race interviews with the drivers." So I started doing pre-race interviews. I got to know all the people around Stafford, and then they let me do the post-race interviews, which was cool, and then they got me out on pit road as one of the pit road reporters, and that was the time of my life. I was having so much fun out there. I did that for years, probably 3 or 4 seasons I did that. It was so much fun. I love the Aroots, great people. I beg and plead them to this day to do another iRacing series, but they won't. They have no interest, unfortunately, but maybe one day, fingers crossed. But I went back to college in 2020 for my junior year. Yeah, junior year. And then for spring break, I went home to visit my parents in Florida. They live in Florida. And so I went down to visit them and basically got an email at the start of COVID saying, "Hey, we're going to do the rest of the semester online. Nobody come back to class." And I was in an engineering program, and engineering programs did not translate well to online at all. Like, it was disastrous. So it took a couple weeks for them to get everything rolling and moving. I took that time. I was like, well, I'm doing a bunch of iRacing. I'd been on the service since 2018. I said, okay, I'll start, building. I built setups for myself to run, and I said, someone will pay $5 for this, right? It's worth $5 for a setup. And so I started selling them for $5. It was just, you message me on Facebook, you send me $5 on PayPal, and I'd send you the setup. And then it started growing from there. And I mean, I remember the first time I made $100 in a day, and I'm like, this is insane. I'm like, this is stupid money for a college student. $100 in a day. I was living large. And Um, I I built a website. I had no idea how to build a website. I just sat down one day and was like, I have to do this, So I built a website using Wix, which has served me well. It's the same website that's still running today. Brought other people on board to help build the setups. We expanded to more cars, more setups, more cars, more setups, more people. It was great, and everything just sort of snowballed fast. So then I went back to college in would have been August or September that year, so like 6 months after I started it,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, this can actually take off, and I'm still doing. I'm back on campus, but most of my classes are still online. So I'm basically scheduled my classes from 12 to 4 in the afternoon every day. And then 4 to 6 was time to socialize, do whatever I want, eat dinner, all that. And then pretty much from 6 p.m. to about 4 a.m., I would just work. I would build setups, I would drive, I would build the website, all the different things as part of running a business. So I was up until 4 in the morning, go to bed, wake up at noon, and I did that for my entire senior year of college. And the business was doing well. I think if I had taken it full time then, it would have been okay. I would have been fine, but like I was still nervous about it, didn't want to fully commit to it, especially when I now had to like move somewhere else, start paying rent, all of that stuff, because the on-campus housing was great in that it was very cheap and affordable, but then I had to like move into the real world. So I got a job at Hankook Tire in Clarksville, Tennessee as an engineer there. I did exactly a year and a day. I put in my 2 weeks notice. I liked it. It was fun what I did, but in that company, all of the upper management was based in Korea. So they were either Koreans that they sent to America, they all spoke Korean, and then they would all be expected to move and live in Korea. I don't have any. If that were my sole job, I could see it happening. But like Jeff Maconi, the sim racer, just was not in a position to be like, okay, I'm gonna learn Korean, I'm gonna move to Korea, and like all this other stuff. Like, just not in the cards. So I could have continued working there, but I wouldn't have moved up. And I was like, this business is really taking off. I'm traveling. I would like pretty much work all week and then go in at 3 a.m. on Friday so I could leave by noon, get on a flight, go to wherever NASCAR was racing, do a bunch of marketing and promotion there, fly back Sunday night or early Monday morning, go to work and do that. So it was crazy busy. So in 2022, yeah, that'd be 2022, I went full time with Maconi Setup Shop, which was like the scariest thing I've ever done. I sold a portion of the business and took a tiny bit of cash, but a large line of credit that I could use if I needed, and didn't end up using more than I maybe used 10-15% of it, but having it there was nice. So now we're sort of in the process of how do I what we're in the process of now is I've been growing the business and getting it to a sustainable point, and it's been sustainable since I did it. Like when I left my engineering job, I was able to continue living at the same quality of life, which is really nice. Not many people who run their own company and leave their full-time job can say that. I was very lucky in that. And so now the plan with the business is just figuring out where it goes, what's next, how do we keep building momentum constantly. And along the way, we started Maconi Entertainment because I sort of realized like we put on all these events, and I was paying big bucks to somebody else for them to broadcast it. And I was like, I know all these people. I understand how a production works. I'm heavily involved in making these productions happen. Why don't I just hire some people myself and do the broadcast in house? So we started doing that. Then other people saw our broadcast and were like, "Hey, can we hire you to do a show?" And I'm like, "That's money that we can make and help offset the cost." So that was nice. And through Maconi Entertainment, really is how we hooked up with Goat Locker. Was doing we did some of their setups, but broadcasted, multiple shows a week with them, and still continue to broadcast weekly for them. So it's all really crazy. And then all of the sim racing stuff is now leading into real world stuff, and like there have been times where I'm walking around like Charlotte, North Carolina, and people will recognize me, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, even just like out and about in racing country. So obviously not like around where I live or anything, but at the track it happens a lot, and like in Charlotte it happens, and it's just still insane to me how much it all has grown and where it's gone and probably where it's going to go as well. I never expected things to shake out the way they did, and I'm very thankful they did, and I love every minute of it. But it's what I always say is, what's really nice with this is if everything ended tomorrow, I could be fine with it and I would be perfectly okay.
I got one question, Jeff. Just one.
Yeah.
Did you breathe the entire last 15 minutes?
All right, everybody. Water
It's a
break.
break.
Let's
Yep,
go to
there we
water
go.
break.
Yeah,
Water
yeah,
break.
water break,
Back
water
it
break.
up.
Covering the
Yeah.
logo. There we go. We're good.
Delicious.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a story, man. And, you know, I've known you since your days in Purdue. You know, when you were talking about the whole thing about, you know, getting setups for $5 and doing it via, you know, Facebook Messenger. That's originally how the two of us came to know each other. And then, of course, you know, continued on into what we're doing. And I think it's really cool to watch the evolution as you evolved. You know, Goat Locker Racing has evolved, and we've grown into two very large organizations at this point in time. And now we're intersecting in the real world as well. We've done some sponsorship. We've done some cool things like that. And now we're hanging out on a podcast too. So this is a weird world. And then we got the, you know, the bearded guy over here too. And he hangs out with me. And I mean, this is the best as it's going to ever get. You don't ever want to see me try to grow this thing. It's not good.
Yeah, we're really suffering in the beer department from you guys tonight. You guys didn't bring your A game, and I'm really disappointed in that. But well, Maconi, I do have a question real quick. 'Cause I know we're kissing ass. It seems like at the moment, Pat is. But what I want to know is I'm curious about the setup shop space in iRacing. It's a very wide business now. I mean, there is a lot of competition. There is a lot of people filling that space. What has been the difficulties, or, you know, I remember back in my day, Dave Cater. I don't know if that name resonates with you or anybody else, but if you've been around for a long time, he's since passed away. But Dave Cater was always giving out setups on the forums and stuff like that. And so there's been so many folks kind of fill that space for a while. But now it's so competitive. Every series seems to have setup shops, have folks, you know, fighting for those for those eyeballs, for people to join, subscribe, whatever. What's the biggest challenge of maintaining yourself as, you know, the first one that people think of?
You know, it's funny. I know I opened up Pandora's box in terms of monetizing setups on iRacing, because it used to be just you would get them for free, or people would, you know, send them to you, or what have you. Setups for iRacing was a popular program, but when I started monetizing it and saying, "Hey, I'll sell the setups that I'm running," and people realized, "Oh, this is working." There were a lot of copycats, and it's funny. Not every, but a lot of the major oval setup shops, major being a loose term there, but the ones that people see and know of are people that at one point either were sponsored by me and drove for me, or were customers. And I'm not going to name names, but it's funny seeing what those people do and how they conduct themselves and how they view themselves. And then I'm sitting in the back of my mind going, I remember when you were asking to drive for me, when you were looking for sponsorship and this and that. So there's a lot of difficulties with it, because I feel like it should, if I could run the world, it would be viewed a lot differently. And I think some of the other bad actors in iRacing have really tarnished the idea by just flat out taking advantage of people. There have been some fly-by-night places that just they take a bunch of money and they just don't deliver, and you never hear from them again. People operating them under fake names, people threatening to sue other people over iRacing setups, which is like the craziest thing in the world to me. That crazy.
Mm.
And what it's turned into now over time is people have started shops and they die out, and the ones that are still around are either a full-time venture like mine,
Mhm.
or it's the ego won't let it die, and people will just take it so seriously. They have to be on top. They have to be number one. They have to do this. They have to do that. That it impacts the driving standards. And so you'll see, shop drivers taking each other out. They're, spamming in the chat and they're doing this, and it's just it's crazy. It's miserable, and they're threatening people with, "Oh, we're gonna put you on a blacklist, and you're not gonna be able to buy setups from any shop if you share any of ours." And then people come to me and they're like, "Hey, someone shared this setup with me." I'm like, "Did you like it?" And they're like, "Yeah." I go, "Okay, like that's fine." People are like, what do you do about people sharing setups?" You send it to your friend and they like it, then cool. It's free advertising. They're going to get tired of asking you eventually, and then they'll just they'll just buy it themselves if they like it. And if they don't, they don't. Like, I, I'm lucky that I'm not in a position where I have to act like some of the other people that, the places that have the negative reputations. I don't have to act like them. I don't have to market like them. Do things that I can do things the way I want to do them, because really what it boils down to at the end of the day is we're driving simulated race cars. This is not, we're not putting thousands of dollars in our lives on the line.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing a glorified video game. iRacing is fun. People should do it because it's fun. And the day this stops being fun for me is the day I'll stop. Seriously, I have no gripes whatsoever. If one day I'm like, this is not for me anymore, I'm done with it, no good. Perfectly fine. I'm perfectly content with everything that happened. There's a lot of people that can't view it that way. It has to be better. They have to be number one. They have to do more. Not that big a deal. This is all for fun.
Yeah, and iRacing's platform, I mean, they obviously make it very easy to share setups. You've got things like Garage22 now, where your setup that you're running will just be automatically uploaded to the site. I mean, there's a lot of things that work against folks like you in setup shops, and it's kind of interesting to hear your perspective of like, hey, that if they like it, it's good, then boom, that's business down the line. Yeah, and I think
exactly.
You don't seem to waste a whole lot of mental energy on trying to stop every person from sharing setups, lock them down behind some sort of weird, there's a lot out there that have these like mechanisms of you have to sign in to this downloader. The downloader is the only way, but iRacing you could still get them, so it's a lot of energy trying to stop something that iRacing has said, hey, look, we're cool with it being, you go into a folder, you click on it, and boom, there it is. So it does seem like you're able to just kind of let that fly and just, hey, don't let that stress kind of eat you up.
It's partially the stress. I mean, I used to take it seriously and get very stressed about it, and that comes from, again, staying up until 4 a.m. every day, like having a sleep schedule like that. But that was the only time that I could work. Everything was quiet, no one was outside, like everything was so quiet and peaceful that I could work until 4 a.m, and that was perfect for me. But I mean, I used to get very stressed about it and everything else, and then I sort of realized it's not that deep. And stressing about it will not gain any more customers. Stressing about it won't grow the business. You have to approach it as this is what I mean, really what it boiled down to is, okay, how would my dad approach this? My dad is 67 years old, and he doesn't know the first thing about iRacing. He's tried it one time and the VR made him sick, and he knows nothing about it. But he's a really good businessman. How would he approach it? Okay, he probably wouldn't get too caught up in the emotions of it, and just so being able to take that step back and say, okay, here's how I want to approach this objectively, has done wonders for my mental health, for my stress, for growing the business. I mean, when I stopped over stressing about it and caring so much, like a lot of the other shops that we were talking about continue to do to this day, business went through the roof. It doubled, tripled, quadrupled. But it's interesting that you mentioned the downloaders and everything, and you have to sign in, and Garage 61 and all that. God, those scare the hell out of me for a completely different reason. It's complete spyware. if you have to upload, if you have to maintain a direct connection to a server in order to use their software for iRacing, and it's a third-party source that's completely unverified, God, who knows what data they're getting into? And that's a whole other can of worms. But there's some programs that are very popular that are accessing more than they tell you, or they tell you and you don't read the privacy policy, and they're just harvesting your data. And that was a big issue back when the next gens were released, because a setup group was basically, there were iRacing staff that used it, and so they used it at work, they used it at home, but that program was snooping through their files, and they said, "Oh, next, stock cars underscore Camaro ZL1 2022, that's a new NASCAR car, and it's developed in iRacing." And they said, "Okay, what more information is there?" They dug further, and this is something that actually happened. They dug further, and they leaked the reveal of the next gen through iRacing, and so iRacing completely shut that down, and there was all sorts of blowback from that, rightfully so. But goes to show, this was a program that was very popular and continues to be popular to this day. If they are looking through your files and you think they're only touching your setups, they are absolutely not. There is more that goes on behind the scenes. So that's why with our program, 100% client side, you could unplug your Ethernet cord. Our program will work exactly the same. Nothing gets uploaded. I don't want your information. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to be responsible for it. Completely different and separate. And we're the only group that does it like that. That is completely 100% client side. I don't have any servers. I don't have anything whatsoever that people's data is sent to. The only information that is ever stored is done through our website manager with Wix. They are 100% responsible. They manage millions of credit card purchases a day. So, like, anytime you buy something online, it probably goes through Wix or Shopify or something like that. But I can't, like, Patrick, if you bought a setup from the website, I can't see the credit card number. I can't see all I can see is the email, and I can't even see the address. So, like, completely 100% secure. A lot of other places are completely different. So you have to be very careful with what information and what programs you download onto your computer, because there are some bad actors in iRacing, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it.
Well, yeah, so you did all the setup shop stuff, and it's obviously been very successful. And then all of a sudden you decide, you know what, I want to do a broadcast, and so you developed Maconi Entertainment. Now I think you worked with quite a few people before that. Is that right?
Yes, I was involved in a lot of broadcasting. I worked at Stafford as an announcer, and then on iRacing in 2020, Stafford did the Stafford Speedway E-Series, which was a ton of fun. So I got to call those races as one of the lead announcers, alongside a guy named Bonsatufa, who still works there. He and I started at about the same time, and he is a wizard, production wizard, absolutely amazing guy. So if he's watching out there, see, so say Bonsa, and he'll get that reference. Amazing guy. I worked with a couple different groups. I think the first one, this will be a throwback. Eddie, you might know these guys. It was I forget the name of the network, but it was Phil Lacasse Jr. who did it. I'll think of the name of it, but him and his crew were the first ones that I called a race with, and then I got into calling with Global Sim Racing Channel, with Podium, and then the whole Podium 500 ordeal. God, that was that's a podcast right there. That day will live in sim racing infamy. That's a podcast right there. So then Maconi Entertainment was born, and yeah, we've worked with all different kinds of people, but my favorite part about that is, one, it saves me money with all the broadcasts we put on, but like being able to put money right into fellow sim racers' pockets. I mean, I've gone and done the math, and it's like it adds up quickly, and you realize that there's people who make thousands of dollars a year just off of sim racing broadcasts. I mean, we probably pay out I don't want to say exact numbers, but quite a bit of money per month, and that's going right to these iRacers right into their pockets. It's great to look at and see where all of the money goes, because there's a lot of people on iRacing that, it helps cover little trips that come up. It helps them cover all their content that they buy on iRacing, or, a trip to the racetrack, things like
Yeah.
that. So it's great to have broadcasting groups. Some are $5 an hour, some are $200 an hour. It all depends, but everyone does a really great job. As I'm biased with Maconi Entertainment. I think they do a great job. I love all the work that they put out, and we've had a lot of fun and a lot of really cool shows that we've had the opportunity to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the broadcast community is such a good community, too. I think you talked about the setup shop community kind of being cutthroat, but the broadcast, there have been a few that are like that, but there are so little folks that don't share information, cross pollination. Like a lot of the guys that work for Maconi, I've worked with over on Podium, or I worked with on V Speed. I've worked in different broad GSRC. I've worked over there. So it's a lot of cross pollination. Everybody works so well together, and that's why I love this community, is just because of how well. And it's such a cool breeding ground. If you want to, if you're looking to be a broadcaster in real life, how cool is it that you have just an opportunity almost every single night of the week? You don't have to wait till the weekend. You don't have to wait till somebody gets sick and you're a pit road reporter. Now you get the opportunity to get in the booth. You don't have to wait for those opportunities like that. You get on every night and you work those skills. People like, Kenneth Bueno, DJ Clark, those guys started on here and just murdered on these broadcasts. And now they're doing stuff in real life, man. They're just so good. Evan Pasoko, of course, everybody knows them. But even Justin Prince, who works with Maconi every once in a while, who does some things on iRacing, does things with RaceSpot. Just be able to get in here and hone your craft, work on it. It's almost like an internship that you kind of get paid to do. It's awesome. It's such a cool thing that we've gotten to this point where, broadcasting fake races is actually compelling enough that people are willing to pay for it, but also be watch, and it's enjoyable. So a lot of development has come, the way I think ATVO guys are kind of have kind of really pushed it forward. Made it really, really good. So a lot of folks have to make it happen, but it's just such a good community, and I enjoy being part of it.
It is. It's the setup shop community is very toxic, and like you go into some official races and it's miserable because of all the different setup shops. And like I said, I opened Pandora's box on that, and God, if I could go back and do it differently, maybe I would. But the broadcasting community is amazing. Everyone is so willing to help. Everyone is, if you are in a time of need and you need another broadcaster, there are 8 people who will jump at the chance, and everyone's happy to do it. And like nobody's locked in with only one network. I mean, there's guys that work for V Speed that do Maconi Entertainment stuff, that do RaceSpot stuff, and Joey Atterbury was, I believe, calling the Dale Jr. charity race last night. He did his first race broadcast with us like 2 or 3 years ago. And he exploded through the ranks. And James Pike is calling Cars Tour races now. And Evan Pasoko does he's the Monster Jam, one of the top people at Monster Jam. Like the crossover in the community, like you said, is unbelievable. And it is the polar opposite. The setup shops are extremely toxic and nobody talks to each other. Broadcasters, we never shut the hell up. Everyone's talking to each other, and it's great experiences. And you have to be careful, though, because if you do somebody wrong there, it will spread around, because people, not because people want to gossip, but because, hey, I had a bad experience with this guy. Don't get screwed too. You don't want to get it caught up in it. And everyone looks out for each other. I love the iRacing broadcasting community.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really an awesome place, and everybody's so inviting. Everybody wants to, just put on really great shows, and there's plenty, that goes around to, there's plenty of market out there for it, that everybody can get a piece. We're not fighting for 1 or 2 slices. There is plenty of leagues out there who want a solid broadcast, and not everybody's looking for the iRacing, e-NASCAR type deal. I'm sure everybody would love it, but you have to pay for stuff like that. To real high. I mean, that is a cost that's a lot higher than you would actually think. I've always been surprised at the cost of those broadcasts. But your league, you want something that's good, some announcers who know what the heck they're talking about, good quality look, and there's a lot of market out there for that. So it is definitely a wide open deal. So, well, we we got more stuff to talk about, and we definitely appreciate you, Jeff, kind of talking to us, telling us your history, the history of both the setup shop and the broadcasting company. So we definitely appreciate that. But kind of want to jump in here before you have to go. I know you kind of got a hard out here at an hour, and so we're gonna kind of talk about some other stuff. And Pat, I kind of want to open the door for you to kind of talk about what's going on with the nonprofit of Goat Locker.
Oh, Pat's here. I forgot about that. My bad.
Yeah, holy smokes! I actually get to talk. I feel like it's back in episode 1 where I just got stuck in the corner for 20 minutes.
Well, here.
Well, hey. No, I mean we could talk for hours on end about what's going on with Goat Locker, and the different meetings that I'm a part of, some of the different sponsorships. So, I had a really cool lunch last week, or it was the beginning of this week. I lose track of my calendar at all points and times. And what always amazes me is the amount of love and support that we get and how far people are willing to go to help us out. So I had an amazing lunch with a gentleman that was introduced to me. It was our second lunch, as a matter of fact. And he decided to open up his Rolodex. If those are still a thing, I don't even know if they're still a thing. They're probably a thing.
He brought out his abacus.
Yeah, similar, except for it's got names and addresses in it. And so he opened up his contact list. There we go. We'll go with that. And man, he has just been sending out email after email after email, introducing me to a bunch of influential people, in his world. I've got a lot of responses back on that. So I'm getting ready, over the next couple of weeks to meet with a couple of presidents of some very big companies here in the Midwest. And things just continue to go down that way. And then here in a couple weeks, you always ask, what's going on in the nonprofit world. And I know the audience wants to hear what's the coolest, newest thing that's happening with Goat Locker, because man, we keep just dropping bombs left and right. Not intentionally. Some of them landed on tracks this past week. Some of them didn't. We'll get to that here in a minute. There was a big one that landed at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Just blew out. The whole turn 1 blew up. So here in a couple weeks, I had a phenomenal call today with Alexander PCs. And for the love of all that's holy, if you do not own a PC from Alexander PCs, you're just flat wrong at this point in time. They're a veteran-owned company. They will custom build it for you. You tell them Goat Locker sent you. They'll take $75 off your order. And we are just... Anybody that's watching has got a PC. They could build a PC for $1,000 or $7,000. It's not like it's... you can get it at any entry point. They have built every single PC for us. All the veteran sim rig giveaways, the mobile simulator, my iRacing sim, a couple of the guys in the league. Again, I'm going on, but I had a phenomenal call with them today. So they're going to be on the podcast here in a couple weeks, and then we can drop the major news that's going to happen with them, which I'm so excited about. And I can't wait for that to come up as well. But having SAVE22 on last week was amazing. John is such a phenomenal guy, and his story. And there you go. Look at that. Look at it. It's a cool little website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to give you a little B-roll in the background while you're yip-yapping about them. They've got some real art pieces here, man. We talked about it the other day, and some people don't care. They just want the box, and does it do what I want it to do? But this right here, it appeals to the artists in some, I think, because some of these are very basic, and then you've got some of these like this one right here that's man, that's wild. There's a lot going on there, so it seemed like you got plenty to choose from over there.
Oh yeah, and I guess I'm not a big computer nerd. I know you are, Eddie, and I guess the new 5,000 series cards dropped this week, and so that was the big moving and shaking that was happening there at Alexander PCs. How many cards they were getting in, what builds they could put them in, the 5090s, the 5080s. I glossed over at that point in time. They were numbers and things like that, and I was like, all right, that's cool. But no, we have when we bring them on the podcast here in a couple weeks, we're going to have a big announcement with them, which I'm super, super excited about. But yeah, I mean, we just, I've told this story a couple times, and this is one thing that is just blown my mind. And I've talked to a couple people about this. So, we've always had hats and shirts, and, Eddie's sporting that nice little, polo and all that other kind of crazy stuff too. And I love it. And I tell you, one of the indicators for me that we were doing such great work and people really love being a part of us is, a couple months ago we put out that whole hoodie order, right? And when I talked to Jam Printing and Promotions about that, I was like, yeah, a couple guys that hit me up, they say they want some hoodies, and she was like, well, it's going to be a minimum order of 24, but if we can't quite get to the 24, then we can fill in with a couple t-shirts. I'm like, all right, cool. We can do that. We can always use more t-shirts. And then we sold 44 of them. And I was like, holy smokes. And then I had more people hit me up. They're like, hey, if you're going to do another order, let me know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, so then I put it out again like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And then we sold 27 more of them. So it has been, 71, 72 hoodies that we've sold, which just blows my mind that many people want to help support us, that many people want to go out there and put our gear on and go walk around and all that other kind of crazy stuff. So there's always something really cool going on. There's always something that brings me back and kind of humbles me a little bit. And that whole piece, as simple as it sounds, of selling a couple hoodies, was incredibly humbling for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's, it just continues to, like you say in the intro, grow and grow and grow. And man, we do love it. As I awkwardly transition to what I'm trying to find, and I'm having trouble finding it, which is our vet spotlight. Yeah, there it is. Wow. I got a lot of stuff on here now. We've added a lot of stuff. We got to talk about the vet spotlight. The whole reason why we're here, and one of our final, well, it was the final giveaway. Brian Froheiger, he's going to get on to me. He is not going to be happy with the way I pronounce that. But man, just want to shout him out. He's the vet spotlight. He's been the whole vet spotlight for all of January, and so it's been really cool to have the final sim rig giveaway winner be the vet spotlight. And of course, we've said it a bunch, but we're going to say it again. He served in the U.S. Army from 2001 to 2013. He deployed to Iraq in support of OEF and OIF with the 1st Battalion, 293rd Infantry Regiment. As a 50 cal turret gunner, he provided convoy security in his assigned AOR, and we're proud to have him here at Goat Locker Racing for sure. So that's your vet spotlight of January. The whole reason why Goat Locker exists is for folks like Brian and so many. And it's going to kind of transition right into the Goat of the Week, and we're going to talk about that now. Jeff, we didn't really queue you up for this, but Goat of the Week is just somebody, doesn't have to be inside Goat Locker, could be anybody that this week kind of stands out as somebody that did something either for you or for other people that you just want to shout out. Mine's going to be Daniel Kirkeel, and he's been a Goat of the Week before, and the reason he's the Goat of the Week again is because he seems to be giving back just as much as anybody else. I don't want to say he's doing more because there's a lot of people that do really good things, but we're all chasing his tail at the moment of volunteer, putting in time, putting in work. Besides the fact that he admins 2 leagues, he also race controls along with those and races. He has also this week put together a couple different things, helping guys get their banners on their cars. That's something that a lot of us who've been around for iRacing forget, I think, is when you get somebody new in here, there's a lot. It is a massive, massive undertaking to understand all the things that we already know. So Daniel has been doing a fantastic job of getting folks going, helping them with paint schemes, but also he set up a practice session the other day where folks come in. He's trying to get people to come in and coach. Guys who've won sim rigs come in there, and they're all trying to learn. They want to learn. They want to get better, and folks in there helping them. Jonah Colbert, who we're happy to have him back. We'll talk about him a little bit more in a minute, but he came in and did a little bit of training with some guys. So it's just cool to see that kind of stuff. And Daniel's the one that's kind of putting that together. So definitely want to shout him out. That's my Goat of the Week. Pat?
Yeah, that's cool. And I love those stories. I love hearing about the community that we have built within, Goat Locker Racing, and how everybody just wants to help out and wants to help each other out. And you see that all the time. And Dan's always hosting those little sessions. I mean, Tyler Justice is doing it, Jacob Linke, Tim Jones, all those guys are always doing a bunch of work behind the scenes. And I'm sure I'm missing some names at this point in time. Somebody's going to call me out for it. Be like, hey, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I've only got so much brain capacity. Give me a break. But that community is so important. So My goats of the week, because I get to do that, is all the guys that have received the veteran sim rigs. All the way back to Warren Clayton. To see him so involved has been so amazing. From the road stuff he's doing, he's out there building road setups for these guys for the 24 Hours of Daytona. He was working on the Bathurst setup for the guys. I think that's amazing. To Devin Smith, who we talked about last week, to Josh Unger and John Hoochen, and Brian Froheiger. I still feel like it's a war crime when I say his name. It feels weird to me. I'm just saying. To Gary Cox. We've seen Gary around. That's
an easy name.
Week. Yeah, finally. And all these. When you talk about the mission coming around full circle, right? To this thing that me and Jamie dreamt up and like, hey, what about doing like sim rigs? Could we put together a sim rig and actually be able to give it to these veterans? To see 6 of them now racing with us is wild. Oh, he did a cowboy hat and the chicken.
He sent me that during the podcast. I said, I got to get this one on here. We got a little bit too much leg from you, Brian. We got to get less leg. We had the shorts that went down to your knees the last time, and now they're going up a little bit further. Let's get some long pants on, brother. We're going too far.
I'm not really. This is what we welcome into our community. Let's just go with that.
Yeah,
that is the goat of the week if I've ever seen one.
And he got the chicken in there, so he understood the mission from last week.
Yep,
and he fulfilled it. We got the chicken in here this week, so that's amazing.
Yep.
But man, like I said, you talk about full circle and all those types of things. To see 6 of these veterans that got a complete sim rig from us. With the help of iRacing and all of our partners, now out there on track, racing, interacting, having a blast, man. My goats of the week.
Perfect. What you got, Jeff?
Well, I am going to have to go with the one and only Logan Sturgeon. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Patrick hooked us up with him. What's the thumbs down for? He hooked us up together. And we are going to be doing some real world sponsorship, which I'm very, very excited for. It's my first co-sponsorship and it's going to be with Brayton Laster, which is going to be insanely fun. He and I get along great. I mean, it is so much fun when we're together. When we were, I couldn't spend too much time up there. I raced his late model at Winchester, but the times I was up there, it's very fun, and you never know what's going to happen when we're together. So that is going to be some amazing marketing. But he has been sending me sauce nonstop, and it's so good because we're going through it. My girlfriend Bridget she loves it, and so she's using it on everything faster than I can use. I have it everywhere. Look at this. Hang on.
Uh-oh. He's going to go get some sauce. Nope.
This is the first.
Wait a minute. This is it. Well, there it is.
There it is.
Big Fish Barbecue.
Yeah, Big Fish Barbecue sauce. I've got it right here. We're getting another bottle. I'm almost out. So I'm going to get another bottle in, I think, this weekend. But I am so excited for it. So huge shout out to him. He is 100% my goat of the week because this sauce, if I can get the lid off, is phenomenal. I don't know if you heard that pop, but it is great stuff here.
Well, I heard mine pop when he shipped it to me and the glass jar broke.
Well, he's doing plastic
That's how mine
bottles now,
popped.
yeah.
I know.
I'm
just giving him crap.
It's the best barbecue sauce to snort too. It's good. It really gets you a good kick. I like it.
It's legitimately so. I will not take sponsorship unless I like the product a lot, and I 100%. It is seriously very, very good sauce. So Big Fish Barbecue, huge thank you to them. I'm excited to have them on the car. They're going to be on Brayton's car in Daytona. He is 100% my go to the week, and now I've got barbecue sauce all over my hand.
Perfect. Praise God, baby. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to move into another segment real quick, and I'm not sure if it's going to play because I don't know what's going on with this. So we'll see if we can get actual sound here. But one of everybody's favorite, it's honestly my favorite segment of the week, and it is the soapbox. Praise God it played. Well, we all know that even the strongest willed of iRacers, we have trouble sometimes. And you know what? It all gets to us. And, Discord is just that immediate run to the Discord, immediate just let it all fly. It's like spaghetti out your fingers. It just comes right out. and this is the soapbox of the week.
I don't think he's ever cooked spaghetti.
No, spaghetti comes out of your fingers. If I don't like you, spaghetti, I shoot you with my spaghetti fingers. All right. The whole BS about incident points is starting to get stupid. We're getting hit by another driver, and it gives us 4X, and then we get DQ'd because one driver wants to jump the start. That's horseshit. Each driver who hit another car under caution should be penalized more than one of those who had a regular race incident. The 99 is terrible. The whole series is supposed to be for beginners, I was told. Well, it is starting to look like a bunch of monkeys fucking the football. Before the first lap, we had a wreck because somebody wanted to do a hell.
I've never seen monkeys.
I'm in character. I'm doing a bit, Jeff.
Sorry.
Well, before we first lap, we had a wreck because someone wanted to do a Hail Melon in turn 1 on lap 1. Calm down and drive. I do my best not to cuss anyone out. But tonight, I really need to get medicated and keep from calling out all the stupid shit. Next week, there better be a ton of drivers starting from the pits because of this BS. What is good for one driver better be good enough for the rest of drivers. If you run a car over, then you need to learn to drive better. I've been told repeatedly to watch out for others. Well, I'm not the only driver that needs that advice. If you drive a consistent swerve pattern that's hard to pass, get some control instead of people having to tell you to move from one line to the other. That's nonsense. Constant low line. It's a run-on sentence. No punctuation. What a race until some damn lap cars said, fuck it, let me destroy the leaders.
I might know who said that one.
Oh, grumble, grumble, grr. And congrats to Jonah Colbert. Should have went low looking back at it, but Tom Cruise went high the second time, and it worked for him. Whoever the 2 truck is, I booked a wet wrestling match in Milwaukee just about 3 miles from the track. It's for next Sunday at noon. Be there, be square. P.S. You're going down. After taking out half the field tonight, it's really good to see that you're not in here giving normal driving lessons. So-and-so is worse than the 99 ever could be. I'm just glad I finally finished a race. I'll give you something to finish.
Oh.
Not on the podcast.
I think I've had enough dick jokes for what else is gonna, and what else going for one day, possibly 2. I'm out. I agree. Oh, that was a good one.
That was a good one.
Well, soapbox, like I said, every week we always kind of give a disclaimer, and I think it's just to remind folks it's just about fun. It's about having a good time. We all say silly things. We all laugh. We say things that we wish we could take back, but dadgummit, it's always fun to kind of go back and revisit some of the things that we said in the heat of the moment. But that's soapbox of the week. You know what, Pat? Have we had any GOAT tech or anything that you wanted to talk about? Have we had anything that you wanted to bring up?
No, I mean, we're going to be working with some of our partners, bringing some of our partners on. I think that'll be a good time to do a GOAT tech. But thanks to the guys that are, you talked about it, Eddie, they're helping everybody out with their paint schemes and getting their spoilers right for the ARCA series that just raise their hand anytime anybody says, hey man, I'm having this problem. I got a problem with my sound. I've got this, I got that. Man, there's just a ton of guys that'll jump in there and help out. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have some goat talk and tips when we have a little bit more time. We'll kind of fill that gap. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the season of racing. Let's talk about what we're here to do outside of the nonprofit stuff, and that's get these guys in here and race. And boy, this is a lot of last lap drama here this week. If you went back and watched any of the racing, it was wild. And dadgummit, I have to start with the craziest one of them all, and we'll have to show this real quick. But they do not have any time at all, as we got some more lap traffic. 2 to go in the Hidden Wit Brewing Company Xfinity Series. Chris Morse in the lead, and just watch this insanity. We got some guys going off track, but it's not going to matter. White flag is out. One more lap to go, and they check up. Oh, and the lead. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Contact. Lap cars. Wrecking in front of the leaders. Christopher Morse goes around. They're still wrecking. What are they doing? Jeremy Garner, Rex, Jacob Ellingson, Rex. Jonah Culvert's through. White flag is out. Coming out of turn 4, there's still cars wrecking all over the track. But coming off of turn 4, Jonah Culvert will survive, and he will win here in Atlanta. Holy cow. What in the world? Well, if I didn't blow your eardrums out, I definitely blew my vocal cords out because I got too excited there because I couldn't believe what was going on. That was the wildest. And, Pat, you were there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you saw me wadded up in the wall. Yeah, I was there.
Well, we broke it down, and just to kind of give you a little heads up of what happened, one driver was bouncing off the wall and comes down, goes through the grass. A group of 4 drivers that were just 2 or 3 seconds ahead of the leaders made a little bit of contact when they had where they were trying to just watch out for that, and they're racing. It's the last lap. We've taken the white flag, and and then all of a sudden we go into turn 1, and they're wrecking into turn 1 and go up the track. And poor Mickey Isaac, he did everything he could. Just the momentum took him up the track right in front of Chris Morse. Had nowhere to go. He was going to win the race. I mean, Pat was going to try to make something happen, but I don't know, Pat. After that, you kind of got bottled up by another driver, another lap car that was down there, and so you were trying to get it wrapped up. And then Jacob and Jeremy Garner get through, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to win. Then another lap car pulls up in front of Jake. Jake runs in the back of him. Garner gets into the back of him. They go spinning down, and Jonah just lays on the throttle in 1 and 2 and just drives right on by. Unbelievable finish. He went from 9th to 1st on the last lap. Unbelievable. Pat, you want to relive it a little bit?
No, I mean let's just really be honest about the whole thing. No, I don't want to relive it. It was getting ready to be a whole lot of fun. It was going to come down to me, Chris Morris, Jeremy Gardner, and Jake Ellingson. And I mean, all of us were trying to set up our moves right there and all that stuff. And then we had a group of lap cars and like, no, the guy in 9th place is going to win. You guys are done. I'm like, well, I guess it is what it is. Yeah, that is some of the most. That was one of the most insane things I've been a part of on iRacing. An incredible race, all race long. And, you come down to the end and you got 4 guys that had really kind of separated themselves, and we were going to go fisticuffs over it. And then as we come out of turn 4, I just see smoke down the front stretch. And I'm like, they're wrecking. And, we all start checking up, and I mean, there's just cars flying everywhere. And I thought I got through, and then I get clipped in the rear end and sent to the outside wall. I end up limping the car back home with my wheel at 90 degrees like this. Jake's in my team. He's on the comms. He's like, I'm gonna win it. I'm like, all right. And the next thing I know, wham! There he goes. Oh, no. And he's like, what the? And I'm like, I don't know, man. It was just the wildest, craziest. I guess it's one of those things you just got to go. Racing happens.
Yeah.
When you think you've seen it all or been a part of it all, something will come up and change your mind. But yeah, that was the craziest thing in the world, man. Just a group of lap cars is like, no, the guy in 9th place, he's our guy. He's winning tonight.
It was just crazy how that whole thing laid out. It was, you talked about it. We only had one caution. It was for a solo spin.
Yep. Amazing race.
Green flag racing. I mean, it was a solid old Atlanta. It's the perfect setup in the Xfinity car. And then to have that last lap just be, I kind of equated it to kind of squeezing the garden hose together and turning up the pressure and then just letting it go there at the end. That's exactly what it was. We kind of talk about, we want to talk about things that happen on the track. So, let's discuss a little bit. Let's talk about, we don't want to name and shame anybody for sure, but kind of talk about some teachable moments.
Speak for yourself on that one.
What, you want to name and shame? Well,
I want to.
It's your damn show. Your name's on it. You can do whatever the hell you want, I guess. But yeah, it's always tough in those situations because everybody's racing for something, and even if you're lap down, you're racing for spots, and it's always tough to kind of place blame or whatever. But it was just a cavalcade of stuff that happened there. So I don't know what's. Go ahead, Jeff.
It's very easy to place blame. It's very easy to place the blame.
Yeah.
But whether you're correct, that's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, and we've got new drivers. The relative box seems to have disappeared from anybody that's joined iRacing the last 6 months. They have a hard time looking down. They're focused on what they're doing, so relative box is sort of the last thing. So I don't know, what do y'all think? What are teachable moments so we can come out of this incident, and move forward and have those guys be a little bit more attentive there on the last lap, or what advice might you have?
Well, I mean, there's a time to race and there's a time not to race. And I think, sometimes, when you're on the track, that your competitiveness will get, I got that word out, right? Will get the best of you, but sometimes it's just best to, hey, if I'm going to finish fifth, I'm going to finish fifth. If I'm going to finish 17th, I'm going to finish 17th. Is it worth, trying to go underneath somebody in the quad oval, on the final lap for 21st position? Probably not. You had your race and those types of things. And I think that's one of the things we preach a lot at Goat Locker Racing. Is if your only concern is where you finish a race and if you can win a race, then this isn't the place for you. That's not what we're built for. We're built here for the camaraderie and the teamwork and all those types of things. But I get it. At the end of the day, those competitive juices will take over. But I think it is a part of that learning process, like you said, Eddie. Mm-hmm. It's racecraft and just knowing what's going on around you, knowing the situation that it is the last lap and things along those lines. And that just comes with time, man. So I hope, each and every one of those guys that was involved with it, just kind of learned from it and moves forward and just kind of understands the situation, where they're at in the race, what position they're racing for, and just go, hey, man, I'm going to finish. The difference of me finishing 20th and 21st, that's not really a big deal. I'm going to hang out and finish this race clean.
Yeah, it's kind of like that decision making whenever you're running Daytona, Talladega, and you're a lap down. You're kind of a solo car, and you're about to go a lap down. What do you do? What's the right call there? Is it to stay on the track on the bottom? Is it to go high? What's the right call? And sometimes depending on what you're, if you're 2 laps down, 3 laps down, sometimes the right call, and a lot of guys in this league do make that sometimes, is just go down the apron. Just don't be involved. Don't be involved in the show. Don't be on the broadcast for the wrong reason. I know everybody wants to get on the broadcast, but don't be on the broadcast for the wrong reason. And you don't learn unless you mess up. That's something that we have to give grace to people. Mm-hmm. I don't think he'll care, but Josh Unger a couple times stayed out on old tires in a couple races. And you know what? Did not go well. It did not go well, and you know what? He learned from that, though. If he doesn't make that mistake, he can't know what it's like. He doesn't know, okay, that's the wrong thing to do. He didn't even know what the flags were that were being thrown. You know what I'm saying? That's how new he was to this. So there has to be a little bit of grace, when we're the mission is to bring in new folks and bring in veterans who've maybe never had a computer. And say, here's all the stuff you need to race. Get on here and race with all these guys who've been doing it for 10 plus years. And, there's always going to be some friction, but I think this season has really been good about giving that grace. That's something that we've improved 1,000% on, is give the grace. Make sure that you're going to mess up. And I had one of the worst weeks on iRacing that I've had in a while in the league this week. And everybody makes mistakes. We're going to do it. Everybody's going to mess up, and those new guys need to be able to kind of make those mistakes.
Yeah, but just don't do it in front of the field when we're trying to win a race. I mean, make your mistakes. Just don't do them then. Please.
Yeah.
Nah, good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. And after the race was done and over with, we all had a chuckle about it because at the end of the day, what else you gonna do but kind of laugh about it?
Yeah.
And then a couple of us reached out to those guys. I know a couple of them felt like incredibly bad.
Yeah.
And we were all like, it's all good, man. We all make mistakes. Things happen. And we move forward, man. So, but I laugh a lot about it now because it was just so insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not nearly as insane as what Gardner did, in the truck race, but hey. We'll get to that one.
Yeah, we'll talk about this. We're going to show an iRacing clip. So some guys wanted to be able to show some clips from their races.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So we're going to start doing that every week. So we're kind of piddle paddling, trying to figure out what kind of segments we want to keep going. I love the idea of user submitted stuff. So this is one of the best ones that was submitted. And if you're not a part of the Goat Talk Discord, please join it. With the links up there, just message me. I'll give you the link. And there's a section that says iRacing clips. And you post your clips there, and we'll take the best ones every week, and we'll show it on there. So this one comes from, let me see, I will read it just right. It says, late model stock, week 2, Cliff Adams takes a ride off the notorious Thompson front stretch skate ramp. Let's take a look at it. I didn't know there was music.
Yep, there's music.
We're going to get demonetized.
It's going to be okay. Whee! Ooh. That's a pretty good little... Yeah, well, there's the kickflip.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, if you didn't know, there's a ramp down there. You can't see it. And he found it for everybody.
He found it, yeah.
He found it.
Yeah. I love Thompson. I love Oxford. Oxford's got those little hills that you can get some good air off them bad boys. But that was Cliff Adams taking a ride there on the late model series, which has been going pretty well. It's been a little bit messy, but that's I mean, you put that type of car, newer drivers on some tracks that are just made to beat and bang. Well, they're gonna beat and bang. Like, why on earth would you drive late models and not use the bumper? I don't know. I
don't know either.
Yeah, that's what they're made for. If you go to any Saturday night late model, that's what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I took the whole side. I took the whole goat locker racing off of my late model at Winchester.
Uh-oh.
No, you didn't. I've got that quarter panel sitting right there. Most of the decal is still in place. Most of it.
Is that
I went in. So we were having motor problems, and I'm like, guys, I'm losing power right now. And they're like, no, you got to just drive it. And I'm like, I think the car's coming down on power a little bit. I feel something off. And they're like, well, go full throttle into the next corner and see if it sticks. And I went full throttle into the next corner, and I'm wheeling this thing. And this is my first time in a race car, and I'm on lap 7 of practice. And I'm cranking the wheel all the way left, and I slide up the track, and Winchester has about 6 inches where it drops about 2 or 3 inches. There's a divot right below the wall. So my tire catches that, pulls the whole car, and I slam the wall, drag along it, and there's a picture of it. Of course, my photographer got that. And I'm like, my teeth are rattled out of my head. Remember, still, first time in a car.
Yeah.
And I do it at Winchester, of all places. Crazy idea. Whole other story there, but I get on the radio and I'm like, guys, I think the car's killed. I just slammed the wall, and he's like, no, you're good. Brayton Lasser's like, you're good. Keep going. Because I was lifting off the gas. I'm thinking the caution's going to come out. I've torn the whole side off. He's like, keep going. He's yelling in my ear.
That sounds like Brayton.
Yeah.
100%.
The first time I'm in a race car, my brother was going to spot for me. He's a day late, so he's not getting there till Saturday. So I'm freaked out because I'm about to get in a race car at Winchester, which has 37 degrees of banking.
Yep.
I am in so far over my head. And they give me a spotter, Brayton Laster. I love him to death, with a severe lisp. I'm missing half of what he's saying. I can't hear. One of my earbuds had come out. The radio's cranked out. And he's screaming in my ear. I'm yelling back. It was the time of my life. So I took the whole. Yeah, you've got the quarter panel there.
I have both quarter
panels.
You got
both of them? Good.
I did.
And yeah, I did a number on the logos, but 0 damage to the car, which amazed me. with how hard of an impact that was. Now, I hit a concrete wall with the side of the car at 120 miles an hour. So like, you don't realize how hard it is until you actually do it. But I thought the car was dead with how hard I hit. So if that was scraping the wall, I am terrified of the day I wreck one. Fingers crossed I don't.
Well, there's been a lot of scraped logos in the late model series so far. Looks like Riley Duncan won tonight, so congratulations to Riley.
Congratulations to him.
I don't know that name. I guess brand new, huh?
New, yeah.
Come out
Which is awesome.
Yeah, showing up, winning races. Let's go.
Let's go.
So yeah, congratulations to Riley Duncan who won tonight. Seemed like the soapbox is pretty tame, so it wasn't too bad tonight. So we'll see. Once the 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes is up, so it doesn't look like anybody had some issues tonight, so that's good. Well, we'll kind of shoot through these. Gardner and Cofield wreck on the last lap after a block from Gardner on the final lap of the Iowa Invent Truck Series. That was a pretty cool one. J Cam gets the win. Blocking was sort of it
was the theme of the week.
It was the theme of the week, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, I feel differently, I think, than some of us do. You know, the Garner and Cofield wreck, I think that was a bang-bang block. You know what I mean? Like, that was Cofield was kind of showing he was going high. He pulls down low. Garner's trying to react. It just too late at that point, and they both go spinning.
That's all. Yep.
So really, really solid one. But the one I want to talk about is the David Duke and Jesse Whittington wreck. Pat, did you go back and see this one at all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, it's a tough one. Everybody is going to have an opinion about this, and I definitely have a different opinion. I can already tell that I'm going to probably get torched here for this one. But I'll give it. I'm going to give it, and we'll let it be what it is. Coming to the white flag, it was 2 to go, I do believe. Duke was out front, and Jesse Whittington was getting a good run off of turn 2 on Duke. And got the run, started going down to the inside, and Duke just kept coming down. And at one point, Jesse goes below that blue and white line. And obviously, once he gets to that point, Duke kind of parks it right there, and then they keep going. And then Jesse tries to come back up on the track, but Duke is there. So, I told Jesse after the race, the way I kind of feel about it is if you go below that white and yellow, the yellow line or white and blue line in Charlotte's case, you've kind of given up that spot. You allowed him to block you all the way down there. Now you're below that line, and it's on you to get back up without causing a wreck. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, you either do one of two things. You either back off or you hold your line there on that white and blue line. And if he's going to wreck across your front bumper. So that's what I thought about it. I kind of thought, it was definitely a lot of blocking. It was a heavy block all the way from the middle of the track, all the way down. And Jesse gave him a lot of grace, but, once you hit that line, you kind of, because in the rule books, it says if you go below the white line or the yellow line, it's on you to get back up safely. The guy doesn't have to let you back up. So, it's hard for me to say it was all on Duke. At some point, if you're blocking me and you keep coming on down, you're going to spin yourself. And that's the way I kind of felt about that. What did you think, Pat?
Yeah, I think completely opposite of you do. Now, I think Jesse was running a hell of a race and was tracking him down. And, yeah, he got a run coming out of 2, went low, and then Duke blocked him all the way down below the line and just parked it there. I'm not a fan of that. I don't think that was remotely even right. And if that was done to me, Duke would have been in the wall. I mean, I just would have cleaned him out.
Well, I think in both our scenarios, Duke.
Can I finish?
I'm
gonna finish.
You got
the
pillow?
Point. I'm gonna get my point.
You have the pillow?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna shove me all the way down there, he didn't get into him. You're gonna keep shoving me down there. Yeah, you're getting shoved back. He doesn't finish that race.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're finding some common ground here because I think in both our scenarios, Duke goes spinning, and I think Jesse.
Yeah, he didn't win that race.
Yeah, I think Jesse, definitely gave a lot of grace there. He did try to come back up. They make contact. Duke had a really nice save, and he goes on and wins the race. But, yeah, I think in both our scenarios, Duke ends up turned somehow doing that type of blocking. And I think Duke would probably agree that at that point, all bets are off. When you block all the way down to the apron, you've kind of opened the door for who's gonna back you up in that scenario. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm a big fan of the phrase "stupid games, stupid prizes." I've had many times where people will try and run me down the track. I move half a lane, and that's it. If you want to push me down, you get half a lane.
yeah,
If you keep going, you're gonna keep going. Or what I really like is I get a run on someone and they cut up in front of me, and it's okay. You want to be in front of me? I will make your dreams come true. You want to be in front of me? Let's keep you right on that front bumper for as
Mhm.
long as you'd like. So I
Yeah.
did not, I was not in that race, but stupid games win stupid prizes. And like you said, I think Duke would agree with that. It's one of those moves that you make where you do it with the understanding of whatever happens next is what happens next. But
yeah.
see, you can do it. Don't get me wrong. You can make moves like that. You can push people down the track and push them below the apron, but you do so with the understanding that whatever happens next is fair game. And
Yep.
I think people like Duke and Jesse fully understand that and make those moves with that in mind.
Yeah. Well, to be clear, I mean we love Duke, so we're not just dumping on
Oh,
Duke.
yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm just saying for my own self. We're not just
Yeah.
dunking on him. But I mean, he's trying to do whatever he could to win the race. I think he could have held him in 3 and 4. I think he could have let him have that inside line. The outside line at Charlotte works pretty good. I don't think he needed to do that. He just, and he got the win because he did it. So it kind of worked out in his favor. He did get a penalty for it, but
I suppose if that's the most important thing to you.
what's that?
I suppose if that's the most important thing to you is that win.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that's what happened. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting call. I think we all kind of agree that Duke went over the line there, and I think I don't know. I don't know how he feels about it going forward, but it was still a really good race. That Invet Truck Series has been awesome.
Yep.
I love the passion. At the end of the day, I love that someone wants to do block like that because they want to win so bad, because it means so much to them. I love that part of it. Now, I don't always agree with how people get that point, but I do love that that people want to win so bad that they're willing to do just about anything to do it. And we like that out of our race car drivers sometimes, and so Dale Earnhardt made a lot of success out of that. I kind of want to highlight this before we go, but I do want to talk about the GT3 series and how much of a success that first race was. Goat Locker has tried to put together a few GT3 series in the past and have done okay. Participation was so-so, and just kind of felt like not enough participation to keep going with it. And I tell you what, Tim Jones come out and said, I'm going to do this. We're going to make this happen. And he put in all the work and, promoted it as much as he could and tried to help people out, put those practices up so people could get comfortable with their driving. And man, what a success. I mean, 30 cars for a track that most people probably didn't even own. And that's huge.
Yeah. I've been super impressed, and again, this is one of those things I'll rewind the conversation where I get humbled quite often is, we put these things together and how much attention it gets and how many people want to be a part of it. And we draw new guys in, and to have 30 cars, show up to a track I guarantee most people didn't own to be a part of our GT3 series is pretty amazing. So we're taking a real good hard look at it over the next couple weeks. I think we're going to have a huge announcement in the off week about the GT3 series and the sports car series here at Goat Locker Racing. I'm working a lot of things behind the scenes, so y'all stay tuned for that one. But that sports car series stays this way. We're gonna do some big things with it.
Yeah, it's cool to have that type of participation because we're mainly an oval league, and to have a GT3 series be that come out of the gate that strong, I was really impressed. And the racing was awesome.
Super impressed.
I mean, the racing. Pat wasn't there, but there was a lot of folks that showed up that I did not expect, and man, seemed to have a really good time. And there's some good racing, some good strategy, and Tyler Merritt was out there just kicking butt for the longest time, and Ryan Pendleton able to hang. He was able to run him down, get by him on some pit strategy. Had to, I think he had some damage at one point. I think he hit another car, or a car hit him, and he had some damage. Had to come down pit road, get his fast repair, and still won the dang thing. So, Man, it's so cool. Can't wait to see how that all plays out. The ARCA series has been pretty fun as well. Can't wait to see how those point standings start to get going after we get these drop weeks out of the way. So, well, I think that's it. I think that's been a pretty dang good show.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, man, we appreciate you coming on and taking your time to come in here and chat with us. We definitely appreciate it. And everybody that was out there watching, thank y'all for being a part of the show. It's always good to have the participation. I see so many people in the chat. Brian Froheiger is in there. Jacob Ellingson, of course. Charles Abert. I don't know who Fun Times with JC is. But they're in there. You got Operation Val. That's Jamie Perkins. Jonathan Cofield, Craig Bontrager, everybody that's in here chit-chatting while we're talking. We appreciate y'all for being a part of it, man. It's I hope that we're doing a good job for you. We want to put on a pretty good show. So, well, that's gonna do it. Y'all got anything else y'all want to say before we bid adieu?
No, I always just sit here at this point in time, just anxious to see how the dismount's going to happen this week. So, I always like just throwing the pressure on you, and we're going to figure out how this one's going to go this week.
All right. Well, go ahead, Jeff.
Get some Big Fish barbecue sauce. It's very good. I got another shipment coming in this weekend. Thanks you guys for having me on. It's always a ton of fun talking to you guys, and now having it recorded and put up, it's going to be fun to go back and watch it. So thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
We want to thank all of our partners out there, all the ones that we mentioned, and of course, SAVE22.vet and ATYL Media, Taylor Kitchens, that whole crew. Thank them for letting us be a part of what they're doing over there. SAVE22, though, SAVE22.vet. I need you guys to go over to their YouTube if you're not, and I need you to go to @SAVE22vet, and I need you to subscribe to their channel. I need that subscription. I need you to be there. Click subscribe. And then on Tuesdays, I want you to tune in to Tuesday Talk. If you're a civilian like I am, and you want to understand what this is all about, it's one of the best things for me to help understand what it's like for a vet that's going through so many different type of emotions and things, in and out of the military, home life, all those type of things, and they break it all down. If you're a vet, it's a great place to go, and that's what he wants. He wants vets listen and being a part of that. So save22.vet if you want to donate, or if you want to donate some of your time, maybe go to save22.vet, and of course the YouTube. Let's go get some views on there. Let's get some subscriptions. Let's get their voice out there. They deserve it. They are doing some awesome things, just like Goat Locker. Well, you want to know how I'm gonna do the dismount, and this is how it's gonna be. And boom goes the dynamite. Good night.